Welcome back to the brand new episode of the A-Game. I'm Hunter Boston.
I'm Lucas Warren.
And I'm Judson Mabe.
App State football sadly lost the Sun Belt Championship against Troy on Saturday. Despite this, the Mountaineers still had a strong end to the season. So guys, what did you think about the game and what went wrong for App State?
The main reason is App State lost to Troy because they couldn't stop the run. I mean, everybody's going to bring up this stat, but Kamani Vidal ran 26 times for 233 yards and 5 touchdowns. Troy averaged 7.7 yards per carry. The big thing is it's stuff we saw earlier in the season. Struggles to tackle in space that allowed big yards after contact, and Troy took advantage. They ran all over the Mountaineers. It wasn't the main reason, but another thing to look at is the offense. Joey Aguilar has been explosive all year, but Troy limited us to 3 passes of 20-plus yards and no passing touchdowns. And that, coming into the game, the Mountaineers were the best team against the sacks. They only allowed 15 coming into this game. They had 5 in this game. Troy really got to the quarterback, made Joey uncomfortable.
Yeah, and as you said, I've been saying it all year. App State has to stop the run. They were able to do so in the last couple games of the season we saw against JMU and Georgia Southern. And they'll have to return to that same brand of football on the defensive side before December 16th in the Cure Bowl. I think offensively, you just have to see more key players involved. During the Troy game, starting running back Nate Noel was substituted multiple times for either Kanye Roberts or Anderson Castle. And I think at the most pivotal moments of the game, you want to give your playmakers a chance, especially Nate Noel. He deserves a healthy workload given all that he's done for the Mountaineers' rushing attack for the past few years. On top of that, I would like to see Joey Aguilar take more command and do what he does best. As you said, no touchdowns against Troy. In the previous 3 games, he's thrown for 3 in each. So Joey's a gunslinger, so I would let him sling it to cap off the season.
That's exactly right. I agree with both of y'all. I mean, looking at the game as a whole, I was very disappointed that we lost, especially after the electric second half. But when I look at the season as a whole, I guess as a fan, I can't really be too mad because we looked really bad at the start of the year. And this team turned around, and to even make a Sun Belt championship is huge. But really, Lucas, you talked about it. Just protecting Joey just did not go well for us. And we've been one of the better teams, as you said, in the Sun Belt in sacks and stopping the sacks. We have a really good offensive line, but they just went at Joey all game. You said 5 sacks. 2 of those sacks resulted on turnovers and touchdowns for Troy. So that was a big moment in the game. And Joey had negative 39 rushing yards, and that was due to sacks. That's unheard of for this team. And that's a big reason as to why we lost. But I think we can put this game behind us now because we have a bowl game coming up. We're going all the way down to Orlando to play in the Cure Bowl against Miami, Ohio. So what do y'all think about the game itself and Miami, Ohio as a whole?
Well, as far as the game itself, it kind of seems as we were unlucky. You know, if we would have lost that game to Georgia Southern, we may be in a better bowl game right now. Who knows? But nonetheless, Miami of Ohio is an impressive team, starting with the defense. They're a very defensive-minded team. Their offense, however, they've been running with a backup quarterback. And for the last six weeks of the season, and I don't know how that's going to hold up for them. But from App, I think we need to see the same level of defensive intensity that Miami will bring. And it starts, once again, with stopping the run. I know their running back has 895 yards on the season, as well as double-digit touchdowns. And I can't speak as to how vital it is that the defense stands tall and stops the run one more time.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because the last time the Mountaineers were in a bowl game, it was against Western Kentucky, which was one of the best offensive teams in NCAA history. Now you're playing a team in Miami that's definitely defensive focused. They're led by their linebacker, Matt Solpak. He has 134 tackles on the season. And they're a team that doesn't get it done offensively, but they've won that MAC conference and won games leaning on that defense. Mountaineers are going to have to show that explosive offense against a tough Miami defense.
Well, all I know is we're going to Disney World, and I'm just glad that we got Orlando instead of Myrtle Beach or Montgomery, Alabama. No offense to them, but it is what it is. But other than football, something else really big happened this weekend, right, Lucas?
Yeah, the men's basketball team got an impressive win against Auburn on Sunday. So what expectations do you have for the team for the rest of the season?
For the team, that I want to say first of all, the game against Auburn, in my opinion, was the best game that I've seen in the 3.5 years I've been here over any football game, anything.
I think best win in
The
program
home
history.
center was rocking. 7,000 in attendance, and I want to be the first to give credit to Coach Dustin Kearns, and not only the job he did Sunday, but the job he's done since arriving back at App State in 2019. He's been committed to excellence, and it certainly showed against Auburn on Sunday. They played an overall clean game, tallying only 7 turnovers against a good SEC Tigers team. More impressively, the Mountaineers were extremely efficient in areas that are usually problematic for them. The Mountaineers shot 47% from beyond the arc, compared to the Tigers' 11%. They also led in free throw percentage, 73-47. Looking beyond the stats, Kearns' ability to trust the second unit guys like Jordan Marsh, Miles Tate, and C.J. Huntley was the key difference to their win versus Auburn. And I think we saw the blossoming of Miles Tate. I think this guy is our number 1 scorer, and he showed it at the end of the game by hitting the step-back 3 to put the nail in the coffin for the Mountaineers. The Butler transfer led the Mountaineers in scoring with 18 points, and like I said, hit the dagger. But overall, it was a great performance from everybody involved. But you have to tip your cap to Dustin Kearns as he outcoached a high-profile coach in Bruce Pearl.
Yeah, you said it, Lucas. Probably the best win in program history. This is the kind of win that you base your program off of. Coach Kearns has been grinding for years now, and you saw it in his post-game press conference. He was upset. He felt the energy in Home Center. He knows just how big this was, not only for him as a coach, but for his program, for his team. He made sure to say, like, this is big for the guys in the locker room. He's a player's coach. They love him. He loves them. And it's just a big win all around for App State basketball. And looking at it, really good defensively from App State. Johnny Broome, we knew he was going to be a problem. He had a double-double, 21 points, 13 rebounds. We knew he was going to be a problem, but what we didn't know was the whole rest of the team wasn't going to really shine that much. The next highest scorer only had 12 points. So App State did a great job and got, like I said, a statement win for the program.
Yeah, you guys said it, but what a moment for App State basketball. I mean, this, to my opinion, best win in program history. This is definitely the signature win for Dustin Kearns, and he's starting to emerge as one of the rising stars at the coaching position in college basketball. And the atmosphere at home's never seen anything like it. Looking at the Mountaineers, I think you got to give a lot of credit to those guards off the bench. Miles Tate, Jordan Marsh, they just attacked the paint all game long, getting to open shooters, just creating separation in matchups they liked. Miles Tate, you said it, 18 points, 5 for 8 from the field, 2 for 3 from the three-point range, 6 for 9 from the free throw line. So got to the free throw line 9 times in that game. And you look at Jordan Marsh, 16 minutes, 9 points in those minutes, and he was a huge part of that second half run to pull away from Auburn. And even though this is a great win for App State, I think it's equally as bad of a loss for Auburn. If you look at what the Mountaineers did, they clearly dared Auburn to shoot threes, and Auburn struggled. They were 3 for 27 from downtown, and they had a big guy in Janai Broome who was 10 for 16 from the field on 21 points. We couldn't stop him when he got positioning down low. If the Tigers made some better decisions down the stretch, got some better shots, got Janai Broome in position to score, I think they might beat us, but Mountaineers dared them to shoot. They didn't make enough shots. It was headlined by freshman starting point guard Aiden Holloway. He was 0 for 6 from 3 and had a terrible shot with 30 seconds left in the game. So overall, great performance from the Mountaineers and not a great performance from the Tigers.
And one more thing real quick before we end the segment. What do you guys think that after the attendance for the Auburn game, how do you think it's going to shape up for the rest of the season?
I hope people start filling up homes. It was such an electric atmosphere, and I always thought it could be an awesome stadium if people fill it. So I'm just hopeful that people keep filling it up.
Yeah, hopefully people that went to the game can see just how electric homes can be if it's packed out. And we can get that kind of atmosphere at every single home game, especially when we get in the conference play. And we have a team like JMU come up. We need that for JMU because that's what's going to win us this conference. So, Judson, I want to throw it back to you for some last words before you sign off your last time on the A game.
Absolutely. This is my last little segment on the A game. I just wanted to say thank you guys to everyone in the control room, my lovely co-host here. It's been quite a ride, and I'm grateful for for everything that this program has given me. And with that being said, stay where you are. When we return, Noah will look back on some of his favorite moments in App State sports, and we will take a closer look at the weekend.
Let's go!
To a place where you can grow.
A place to be heard.
And take a closer look.
A place where you can crush it.
And push yourself.
A place to find your voice.
This place rocks. And rolls.
A place where you can get out.
Wow! A place you'll never forget.
So where is this place? Let me show you.
When the final buzzer sounded after a slugfest versus Auburn, App State basketball made history on the mountain. But even before tip-off, the vibe at the Holmes Convocation Center was electric for App State and Auburn fans alike.
Try to go to some road games each year, saw Boone on the calendar. Knew Boone had to be the location we came to this year. Drove up Friday, been around the town hanging out, great food, great people. We've been loving it. We've been loving it.
I don't think I've ever been to a sold-out basketball game at App State, and I'm very, very excited. I know our student section's going to go crazy. We got the guys in the bibs, and we've got a couple costumes out there. I know we're going to hold it down over here next to the Auburn section. I think they're in trouble. I think their fans are in trouble, that's for sure.
With some help from the Auburn faithful, a passionate black and gold crowd scored the first sellout for the arena since 2009. And now App State head coach Dustin Kearns believes that same excitement surrounding the basketball program could be a consistent thing.
I think we're just getting started, and I think that's what I hopefully feel like the students and our fans see too. Hopefully they came today and, you know what, I want to come next week. It doesn't matter now. App State's playing. And I think that's where our football team's been beneficial is they get this type of environment, home atmosphere every game because App State's playing. App State's playing on Tuesday. This can happen more often. These kind of wins because of the environment really helped us today.
The other thing that helped, stellar play from newly acquired transfer guard Miles Tate and returning guard Terrence Harcum. Thanks to them, App State would go on to beat Auburn 69-64.
I'm glad that the town and people and the fans were able to come to the game, and moving forward, that's going to help put more people in the seats for us. So that was big for us.
We appreciate everybody who came, and we hope it's going to be like that more, just coming up in the season and even in the future years. I wanted to keep going just like that.
Every game will condition this App State basketball team for its run at the Sun Belt Conference title. Those games heat up in the month of January. But either way, an electrifying atmosphere and an astounding win against Auburn mean a promising future for App State basketball in the high country. Noah Cornelius, AWN.
Life is a journey. We're told that there are mountains and valleys before us. A mountaineer trudges through. Where others see an obstacle, a mountaineer sees an opportunity. A mountaineer climbs tomorrow's mountains today. So what is a mountaineer? A mountaineer is you.
Welcome back to the A-Game. I'm Noah Cornelius. Now, this block is bittersweet for me because while this is the final show of the semester for the A-Game, it will also be my last appearance on App TV because I'm graduating at the time of this recording in 2 weeks. I have more on that in a second, but first, what do I have planned for this block? Well, my personal greatest moment in App State athletic history during my last 2.5 years here. The Holy Mother Meatballs moment itself, App versus Troy. Full disclosure, I'm fighting through flu-like symptoms, so we're going to get through this the best we can. Can't miss the last block of the last show for me. But on to the game. It was an unforgettable Saturday at App State, and it began with ESPN College Game Day's first visit to Boone. But then, Miracle on the Mountain, Part 2. Former App State quarterback Chase Bryce's 53-yard Hail Mary touchdown pass to Christian Horn, with help from 6'4" teammate Dalton Stroman's crowded tip at the 5-yard line, and Caden Robinson's ceiling block after Horn made a circling catch on the tip at the 8-yard line gave App State a thrilling 32-28 win against Troy in their Sun Belt Conference opener. Thrilling, historic, unbelievable, and unforgettable. 20 years after winning the original Miracle on the Mountain game by returning an intercepted 2-point conversion pass for a go-ahead 2 points with 7 seconds left at a 16-15 home win against Furman. App State, 2-1 at the time, pulled off a shocker with no time remaining on the clock, and by the end of the celebration, no shortage of stunned reactions from players, coaches, and fans who had congregated on the Storm field. And one expected it to happen like that, but no one expected this game to happen like this. The actual name of the Holy Mother Meatballs play, Big Ben, similar to a 63-yard Hail Mary that Florida used to beat Tennessee in 2017, when current App State offensive coordinator Kevin Barbay, former current offensive coordinator Kevin Barbay, was the Gators' director of player development. A crowd of 34,406 fans witnessed even more history, although some had to return to the stadium after leaving with App State's chances of a victory looking bleak. Fake fans, we don't know, but at least they came back. Immediate fireworks above the north end zone facility signaled to many that something historic had just unfolded nearby. It was the 4th largest crowd in Ken Brewer Stadium history and the biggest crowd for a non-ACC opponent at the time. Chase Bryce threw for 278 yards with 2 touchdowns. Cameron Peoples gained 84 yards on 17 carries. And Dietrich Harrington added 58 more yards on the ground while scoring a 19-yard touchdown. Horn led App State with 98 receiving yards, and Robinson's 68-yard day included a 42-yard game. Nick Ross recorded a career-high 12 tackles, and Andrew Parker contributed 10 for a defense that forced 1 turnover and totaled 3 sacks. App State recorded 3 first-quarter sacks with solo efforts from Tyler Bird and Keshawn Brown, being followed by a combo deal from Nick Hampton and Hansky Palant. But quarterback Gunnar Watson had 2 one-yard sneaks for touchdowns in the second quarter. Bryce's 18-yard touchdown pass to running back Anderson Castle tied the game late in the second quarter, but Troy drove 75 yards in 82 seconds and scored on the final play of the half. Troy keeping its offense on the field from the 1 with 3 seconds left, and a long wait with no signal on the sneak, Watson was credited with the tie-breaking score. 2 run stops, each followed by an App State timeout, preceded a 3rd down run that allowed Troy to run the clock down. The intentional safety covered 5 seconds, and Marshall's return of the free kick consumed 5 more. 3 straight incompletions triggered another 4th down passing opportunity for Bryce, and that one will go down in history. It's a day that was certainly remembered for many things: mousetraps, meatballs, and yet another miracle on the mountain. Whew-wee. When I wrote that, I wasn't expecting to lose my voice halfway through it, but we fought through it. And I just wanted to say, since this is my final time on the A Game and my final time on App TV, it's been one heck of a ride. And to the crew and everybody who was by my side for the last 2.5 years, it's been one heck of a ride too. But don't go anywhere, because we still have some amazing content coming up next on the A Game, where we will run down the mountain with Paula McKenna and Cody Bear.
We've been here before. We're going to do it again. Running down the mountain, whatever Noah likes to call it. So let's get right into it. Cristiano Ronaldo is facing a $100 billion class lawsuit. This lawsuit revolves around his promotion of NFTs, which led to financial loss of multiple investors. People are mad because Ronaldo made deceptive statements, but the real thing people are talking about is that he did not disclose the form or amount of compensation he would be getting. Cody, do you think celebrities should endorse NFTs, and do you think they're worth the trouble at all?
Are NFTs still a thing? It's really, really weird what's going on with all of it. I'm honestly not super into it, but you see the Ronaldo issue. You know that Tom Brady was involved with an NFT company that's going through a strategic transformation. So no, it's not worth the trouble.
I don't think so either. I don't understand the point of them and the money, any of that stuff. It makes no sense to me, and I think it was a bad call for Ronaldo.
The NCAA playoff is set, and not without its fair share of controversy. The top 4 looks like this: Michigan, Washington, Texas, and in the 4th spot sits Alabama after knocking off Georgia in the SEC championship. Florida State was left as the top team out of the playoff despite going undefeated and winning the ACC championship. Did the College Football Playoff Committee make the right decision by putting in Bama and leaving out the Seminoles?
You know, I definitely think it's a hard call because on one hand you have Bama, who, you know, is a team, but Florida did go through the correct obstacles, you know? I mean, look at their record. It says enough. What do you think?
I think Bama is a better team, right? You can, if you want proof of that, just see Michigan's reaction to seeing that it was Alabama instead of Florida State. That being said, if you want to talk about the team that deserves it the most, which College Football Playoff Committee, you set the precedent with teams like Cincinnati saying it's about resume. That's not what happened here.
No, not at all. So, Luka just became a father, and that's definitely a milestone in his life. But the Mavs just set an NBA record. Dallas had a 30-0 run. And even though the Mavs did fall short in this game, Luka came away with 36 points, 15 rebounds, and 18 assists. The run isn't the only thing being talked about after the game, though. The final 2 minutes, there was a call for traveling on Luka. We all know that traveling calls don't really exist in the NBA, but Luka is still not happy about the call. So traveling, should it be enforced more, or should the refs continue to pick and choose when to enforce the call?
Yeah, the Mavericks would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for the meddling kids of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Jalen Williams. But with the traveling, we'll complain about it until there's a whistle every 5 possessions for it, and then we'll complain about that too. There may be some inconsistency with the calls, but late in games, if you don't want it called on you, don't travel.
Yeah, I mean, but then you get into the argument about the Euro step and really what makes traveling. So it's an argument no one is ever going to win.
Yeah, it's an offense league. The winter meetings have begun, and there's one huge name that MLB teams are swinging for. Free agent Shohei Ohtani is expected to get signed to a deal over $500 million and is expected to make his decision within the next week. The current teams connected to Ohtani include the Braves, Cubs, Dodgers, Giants, Blue Jays, and of course the Angels. Where would you like to see Shohei Ohtani end up?
You know, personally, I think it would be interesting to see him go to the Braves. You know, why not? Who would you like to see him end up with?
Hopefully not the Dodgers, most of all, even though that's where the odds are saying he's probably going to end up. It's a big market. It's where his family can watch him with the time zone. But I'd like to see him somewhere in like Chicago. Chicago, big market, built the team, revitalized things in 2016. And then after that, things have kind of gone away. I think getting him in Chicago would be awesome.
Oh, yeah. I mean, hey, why not? So it seems like we hear that Tiger is back every 6 months, but he's back. Before December, he hadn't played in a tournament since he withdrew from the Masters in April. Since then, he had surgery on his ankle, even though he finished 18th this weekend in the Hero World Challenge. It was a good event for him to come back for. It was a very flat course, and it wasn't for contending or winning. It was just about coming back and getting a feel for the weekend. So Woods just turned 48. Between the age and his body, we all know that a full PGA Tour schedule probably won't happen for him. He is getting back to competitive golf, though, which is ultimately a win. He's actually going to team up with his son in the next tournament. So is Tiger going to stay healthy and playing competitively, or is he going to transition to more of a recreational golf? Cody, what do you think?
I think that he'll play golf competitively, but he won't be competitive in the golf. He's set a goal of once a month. I think that's ambitious. A few times a year is probably enough, even though he probably won't be really competing.
Yeah, it is good to see him back.
The 49ers finally got their NFC Championship revenge game, and they took full advantage of it. San Francisco dominated the Eagles in Philadelphia on Sunday, winning 42-19. Brock Purdy finished with 314 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. After lots of talking going into the matchup, Deebo Samuel had 4 catches for 116 yards and 2 touchdowns. Are the 49ers now the clear-cut favorite once again to win the Super Bowl?
You know, I think it's hard to pick a favorite when it comes to the Super Bowl because who knows what could happen. Do you think they are?
There's a lot of time left, but as of right now, how can they not be? Shanahan is one of the best there is. This team is so talented. Brock Purdy's becoming a perfect system quarterback, and they have big wins over teams like the Seahawks, the Cowboys, and now the Eagles. Right now, it seems like their path in the NFC is there.
Oh, yeah. So since there won't be another A-Game episode until after the new year, we might as well preview the next UFC event. It's going to be an exciting night. Not only are there belt fights, but we also get to see Paddy the Baddy, which is a favorite of mine. So starting with Paddy's fight, he's facing off against Tony Ferguson. Tony has been a big name in the business for a few years now, so it's a good matchup. The 2 other fights that people are talking about I'm not going to try to pronounce the name, okay? I'm not going to. But Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington is a big one. So right now we're going to focus on Edwards and Covington. Many think that Edwards is going to be quick and slick against Covington. Cody, which fight are you looking forward to and why?
I'm really looking forward to seeing Leon Edwards show why Colby Covington does not deserve a title fight. Talk about Dana White privilege. Covington hasn't fought since March of 2022. He fights once a year, and every other one of those fights is a title fight, and he loses the last 2 of them. He deserves another title opportunity after that. That's ridiculous, and Leon Edwards is going to show why on December 16th.
So you have Edwards?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good choice.
Ryan Garcia has made his return to boxing. After losing to Gervonta Davis in April, Ryan Garcia returned to the ring to match up against Oscar Duarte. Ryan Garcia won the fight by a convincing knockout in the 8th round. After the fight, there was a lot of talk about who Garcia might fight next, with names such as Rolly Romero, Devin Haney, and Shakur Stevenson being thrown into the mix. Paula, do you like what you saw from Garcia, and do you think he can compete with boxers like those?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He came out and he showed people what he was made of. I know you saw the fight, and I know you had a big payout, so I'll just let you take it from there. What did you think of it?
Yeah, I actually disagree, because I did have the payout, and it was great. But the tune-up fight was cute, but he has been doing some weird things. He turns his back to his opponent in this fight, and I think it's because he's worried about getting hit like he did by Davis. You want to learn from a loss, but you don't want to build bad habits from it. So right now, against some of the guys I mentioned, I think he'd be in trouble.
See, okay. But think about it. He's in boxing, so he has to like getting hit. So I think...
That's the issue. It doesn't seem like he wants to.
I think you're just saying that. Anyway, boxing has been a big deal this year, and with the new year approaching, there's one big card remaining in my eyes. Deontay Wilder versus Joseph Parker, and Anthony Joshua versus Otto Walling. This card is frustrating, honestly. I feel like people have been waiting for a Joshua Wilder fight for years, at least since Wilder Fury 2. Cody, what are your thoughts about this card?
Yeah, it is disappointing that you're once again not getting the Wilder-Joshua fight. But on the bright side, I'm hoping that this leads into it a little bit. You have them on the same card in the building. You're going to see Joshua win. Then you're going to see Wilder win. It's set up that way. Then you'll see Joshua come into the ring. They'll have their little face-off, and they'll start working on the next fight.
See, but they're talking about one of the winners going against Fury, and it's all just a mess. And I don't think we're ever going to get Joshua Wilder.
It won't matter when Fury loses to Usyk.
True.
The Carolina Panthers have now fired head coaches midway through the season in back-to-back seasons. After starting the season 1-10, the Panthers fired head coach Frank Reich. It didn't show immediate results as Carolina lost their next game 21-18 versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Frank Reich hasn't put together a winning game plan around his rookie quarterback, but the situation he was given wasn't great either. Was the mid-year firing justified?
You know, a lot of people think that firing the coach will just kind of make all the problems go away, and I don't think it will. You know, I think there's more to it than just that, but I am not a coaching expert, so.
Yeah, it may not have been justified because of the terrible situation in Carolina, but he wasn't going to be the guy. My bigger issue is David Tepper's firing coaches left and right. Too much of a hothead. I'm worried about how this team's going to progress under David Tepper. But Paula, this is your final episode here on the A-Game, so I'll send it to you for some final words on it.
You know, I won't get all touchy-feely like the other guys did. That's just not how I'm going to go because, you know, I've had a few last shows with you recently. I mean, there's been 3 in the last week, so it's been a good run. Been here for quite a while, but I'm excited to see where else I go. So, as always, it's been a pleasure being on the A-Game, and I'll let you finish it up, Cody.
Yeah, we'll take a quick break for winter break, but we will be back with more of the A-Game next semester. We'll see you then.